This video is intended to give some background information on the Frankenys in America. More specifically, how the Frankenys came to the United States and ended up in Western Pennsylvania. Luigi and Salide Frankeny, as they pronounced it in Italy, were from Lucca, Italy, a Tuscany town near the northwestern coast of Italy by the city of Pisa. One of their sons, Julius Francis, who was born in 1887, decided that he wanted to come to the United States. When he was 17 years old, in August of 1905, he bought passage on the sailing ship König Louisa, bound for New York. He arrived in New York Harbor on September 9, 1905, alone and with $12 in his pocket. He was processed through Ellis Island, where it was confirmed that he was a healthy 6 foot 2.5 inch, brown-eyed, brown-haired young man who could read and write. He told officials that he was heading to a friend's house in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and already had a ticket for that train ride. It is not known how long he stayed in Williamsport, but by 1910 he was living in McKees Rocks, where he was hired as a machinist in the steel mill there. The steel works in McKees Rocks was owned by Andrew Carnegie and had attracted workers from around the world, many of whom were from Italy and Germany, as well as Eastern Europe. The 1910 census shows that he was single and living at a boarding house on Island Street near the steel mill. These pictures show what Island Street looked like in 1905, as well as the site of the boarding house today. Here are pictures of the steel works in 1905 and what it looks like today. He met and married Gertrude Hufnagel, whose family had lived in McKees Rocks for some time. Gertrude's grandparents, Michael and Catherine Nailbeck, had moved to McKees Rocks in 1855. This is a picture of Catherine before she died at age 87 in 1925, having lived 70 years in McKees Rocks. She died at the home of her daughter Elizabeth Hufnagel, which was also the home of her grandson Ulrich Hufnagel. The house was on Creek Road between Julius's house and the home of Ludwig and Augusta Kraus, parents of Hildegard Olvera Kraus. Julius and Gertrude lived on Chartier Street when Julius Nicholas, Cheryl Frankeny's grandpap, was born, but by 1930 they were living in a house they built on Creek Road, which is the only house still standing in that area. The creek bottom was prone to flooding, which made the soil very good for gardening. The Becks, Hufnagels, and Frankenys all attended St. Mary's Catholic Church in McKees Rocks. The original church building was on Creek Road, but was moved after a flood. In 1925, the land was sold to Ulrich Hufnagel, Elizabeth's brother, which is why they all lived near Hildegard's family when she was a teen. No doubt, Julius Nicholas went often to see his grandmother and great-grandmother who lived next door to Hildegard. She says that one time Julius Nicholas tripped her while ice skating, and she was very upset with him because she was wearing a new dress, something precious to a young woman from a gravedigger's family in a Depression-era steel town. Nevertheless, Julius and Hildegard fell in love, and when he was 18 and she was 19, they went to Ripley, New York, just across the border from Pennsylvania, lied about their ages and said they were 21, and got married in 1931. The next year, baby Julius Louis, Charles' father, was born. Julius and Hildegard were living with his parents on Creek Road, as shown in this picture. In 1937, Julius Francis and Gertrude lost their youngest, Jerome, when he drowned in Chartier Creek. He was playing with young Jewel, Nancy, and some neighbor kids when the red wagon that his father had bought for him rolled down into the creek. After an all-night search, his body was found the next day. Julius Francis wanted to move his family out of McKees Rocks, so sometime in the 1940s, they bought a tavern called Shines north of Pittsburgh in Greenville, Pennsylvania. The family lived in the spacious apartments above the tavern, and Julius Nicholas and Hildegard came as well. Julius Louis stayed back in Pittsburgh so that he could graduate from the high school he had been attending. In 1948, Julius Francis died of pancreatic cancer after a short stay in the hospital in Pittsburgh. Gertrude took over the tavern and renamed it Jules Tavern, which is the name it still has today. Cheryl visited the tavern and gave them a picture of Julius and Gertrude, their wedding picture, which the new owners placed on the shelf behind the bar. Julius Nicholas did not stay in Greenville long after his father died, though he had been a part owner in the tavern. Instead, he bought a trailer and brought his family to West Columbia, where the post-World War II economy in Houston was booming and in need of skilled craftsmen. They built a house in West Columbia where they lived until their deaths in the early 1990s. Young Julius Lewis met Joyce Maureen O'Barry in West Columbia after first enlisting and serving in the Korean War as an engineer. They were married in 1953.